Hold on, check this out. This is the best. This is the best. Spray tan Cyclops. Huh? Doing his Mitt Romney impression. And of course, Olivia Newton-John Mystique. She's getting physical. Huh? You guys should get a Care Bear and a Pikachu, have the best fight ever. Dude, come on, Thunderbolt versus boom, Care Bear stare. I'd pay money to watch that. And where did he go? I think we sold him. Ah, we had a Punisher that had a little sound thing, and it was so old it sounded like a Dalek. It was great.
Exterminate.
Right? Who doesn't want to watch the Punisher run around and yell exterminate? But the best thing ever. Right? All right, check it out. Best thing Corey got me today, though. Purple wallet with Black Michael. High five! Bam! Done! Black Michael! I have my box Gamecom here, right? That was the first touchscreen handheld video game system, right? The commercials were a midget yelling at a crowd of punk rockers, and he's like, "It's got more games than you have brain cells!" It had 22 games. What the fuck? All right, I'll be out.
Okay, all right.
No, I liked R2-D2 when I was a little kid. And then my son, when he was 5, we went to the OMSI Star Wars exhibit that they had. Yeah. And it was kind of like a childhood dream relived because my son thought R2 was cool. And so I'm like, I'm a 30-year-old dude. I've got some time, let's build an R2-D2. So it was like just kind of something to do. It was way more difficult than we thought it would be. It took like 600 hours. I thought I'd do it like in a few weeks, but it took a whole year to do it.
Well, it's totally worth it. I mean, now it's signed and endorsed by Kenny Baker, right?
Yeah, it's cool. It's the only, I guess, the only full-size one that Kenny has signed that's robotic and moves and stuff, so wow. That's kind of cool. I just made the Gremlins. Like, I like to do projects each year. I have a project. So, glad you like it.
This is Lydia England, and she is one half of the owners of 8bitcraft.com, and they make this amazing 8 and 16. Have you guys done 32-bit?
Yeah, we've done really big ones from Street Fighter.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember you had that huge blue dragon that somebody commissioned for you last year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Leviathan.
Oh, there's so much stuff. Oh, how much is this Sam? Okay, anyway, so how long have you been making this art?
For about 4 years, on and off.
That's really cool. What made you decide to do this kind of art?
Well, we actually had a venue for other vendors to sell like hobby-related things, and we wanted to make our own booth. And we thought lots of people would like these because they're very nostalgic, you know, retro video game stuff. And then also people see the curler beads and they say, "Oh, I used to make those when I was a little kid." So
I do remember them when I was a kid, and I was like, I can't make crap with this. What do I? And this is so inspiring. It just makes me want to go back and make this stuff again. So about how many hours does it take, like per piece? For the small one, how much?
Small one. This one's probably just gonna take like 15 minutes, 10 minutes to place all those beads on, and then maybe like just a minute to. I had to fuse the back, iron it, and then like 5 minutes to cut out the magnets and put it on the back. But like this one took me all day, and
wow.
And then it took a long time to iron it and to cut the magnet out to the perfect shape. So, you know, maybe 12 to 16 hours.
I don't even want to pick it up. I'm afraid it's gonna break. Like, oh my
the big
god.
ones are a little bit more fragile.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
Yeah, the big ones get exponentially harder because the design's so much more complicated, and you have to really pay attention, and sometimes you mess up.
Oh, wow.
You have to do it again. So it's Ridley holding a Metroid.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah, and the sprite that I was looking at, the computer image, you know, it looked like between purple and gray. So I chose to do it in gray. But then Josh came home and he's like, it's supposed to be purple. I did the whole thing in gray, and I had to do it all over again.
Wow, that's, well, I commend you for your dedication to your craft. That is, I don't know if I have enough patience for that, but that
It does
is,
take a lot of patience.
but that's amazing. And thanks for taking the time to let me interview you.
You're
officially.
welcome. Selene,
Thank you so much. I'm with Howard Phillips, who used to work for Nintendo of America and now is an ultimate game master. Mr. Phillips, what did you do for Nintendo of America?
I pretty much did everything for them. I started out in '81 and worked through '91, and I was the warehouse guy, and then I was the guy who helped select all the titles for the U.S. release of the NES.
What?
And then I was the co-editor of Power Magazine and the game master and Howard and Esther Comics and all this.
I have so many friends that love Nintendo Power. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that it's going to wrap up after all this time. Yep, at the end of the year. But you know, it's had a good run.
That it has. I remember my friend when we were 7th grade, she has like all these Nintendo Power covers like stapled to the ceiling, and she loved it that much. She just is just so insane in love. Tell me about becoming a game master. How did that come? Like you just like played so many games all the time. You're just like the ultimate champion of everything. Like
maybe a little bit of that, but also luck and timing. I was in the right place. I was working in the warehouse, I was a shipping warehouse manager for Nintendo, so that means all of their products came across my desk and through the trucks that I brought in and out. And so I try everything and play everything, and I started giving feedback to Mr. Arakawa, and then that made it back to Miyamoto, and then kind of one thing led to another, and then I was working full-time just evaluating all the new games that were coming in and helping Nintendo Power write about them, and then producing games with Rare and some of the other second-party developers.
what were like top 5 games that you over the time you worked at Nintendo, or even like, you know, since you discovered like
Well, you know, I started out in Donkey Kong was great, of course, because it had 4 boards. Most games back then just had one screen. I mean, that was it.
Right.
You were locked there. And Donkey Kong, you'd actually complete a screen and it'd go to the next one. It's hard to imagine now, but it was really cool when you actually, it's like 4 games in one. So Donkey Kong, Super Mario, of course, because it was so cool. Legend of Zelda, I love. That's my favorite all-time game. Metroid, because it was interesting, like, there weren't a lot of space games back then. Metroid was very cool for that. It had a great game mechanic. And then, of course, Tetris was very cool when that came out, just kind of for simple fun, you know, classic gaming fun.
So you said you're starting a Kickstarter?
Yeah, I just launched a Kickstarter. I've got a new game. It's kind of classic retro style, but it works on mobile and iOS currently. It's called Game Master Howard's Know-It-All. Had to give it something to kind of differentiate it. So, but anyway, it's know-it-all, and it's a game that helps you become a know-it-all of anything you want. It works with content from the cloud. Just downloads anything you want from the cloud, and it uses a novel method that helps you and train your brain. Kind of like when we played classic games, we got really good at different stuff like jumping or knowing where things were, but we never studied it. It just happened. Well, this uses the same mechanic, but it does it in a particularly interesting way using neuroscience and etc. But it's a fun game because I like fun games, so I designed it to be really, you know, kind of classic, simple, but addictive fun. And it helps you become a know-it-all of anything, whether you want to learn trivia, or whether you got some school thing that you want to do, or whether you just like to have fun. Check it out. It's the Kickstarter is just Game Master Howard's Know-It-All.
All right. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I will spread the word. Go, donate, Kickstarter, Game Master Howard's Know-It-All. Do it.
Now.
Now. Yes. Okay. Thank you so
very much. Nice to meet you.
Nice. So I'm with John Hancock, who is evidently the biggest retro video game collector in the Western Hemisphere. At least that's what I heard.
Just a collector, just a guy. But like I said, I collect quite a bit.
How many games do you have?
6,000 to 8,000.
Just a collector, huh?
Just a collector.
Wow. How did you get started just collecting all of these retro games?
Well, I was really into art sailing as a kid, and I started with baseball cards and comic books, and it just moved to games, and so I used to go to flea markets as you know, a young teenager and started collecting games that way. And it just kind of snowballed. I had Mike Etler's NES Rarity Guide, which is before the internet, you know, and so I had that, and I think, you know, I'm the only one doing this. I didn't know anybody else was doing this, and ran into some other collectors and went to several classic gaming expos, which is kind of where the ultra collectors meet, and definitely it ended up being awesome, and just kind of snowballed from there. And I just I was really driven to complete sets. I'm a complete set collector.
Okay.
So I don't go for prototypes. I don't go for like a lot of memorabilia, but like complete sets of U.S. collections. That's what I go for.
Wow. So have you moved into collecting the Japanese versions as well?
It's really difficult. The challenge is just finding it. I don't like buying stuff off eBay. 98% of my entire collection is found in the person, in the wild. So all the stuff, I rarely use eBay because anybody can click a button. You know, to find it in person, you know, I found a US Neo Geo box system here. US. Neo Geo System Gold.
That's amazing. So have you played every single game that you own?
No, of course not.
Why not?
I don't have time, and I think it calculated to be like 36 years.
It'd be something to do, right?
Yeah,
but better way to spend your time.
But collecting isn't about playing. Like,
bigger venue this year.
Yeah.
Like this
smells better.
Yeah.
Doesn't
No,
it?
I was so shocked when I came in because I was like, this feels like a con. Oh my god, this is so much bigger than the DoubleTree.
Yes.
But I mean, even at the DoubleTree, it was like people come here and trade retro games, and it's people showcasing even more than just retro games. It's amazing. Careless Gamers for Kids.
Yes.
What is that?
So I stepped down as an official organizer from the Portland Retro Gaming Expo this last year to focus on my charity. And the charity is sponsored by Retro Gaming Expo. They pay for the venue, but it's in Kelso, Washington. It's going to be in the Kelso Mall. And we had about 500 attendees last year, and all proceeds go to charity.
Wow.
So it's just for fun. Vendors can set up now. They can donate a portion of their proceeds for the charity. And but yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah.
How many years have you been?
This will be the 4th year.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we started with like 100 people, and now we have 500. So it's a much smaller venue, but that's kind of what I'm going for. Like it's very intimate. You know, just 20, 30 vendors. So it's like a Retro Gaming Expo light. That's okay.
And it's all for charity, and that's amazing.
And it's only 100 calories. Yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
What better way? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you
so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm here with Chris Trimieux, and he is the creator of Road Warriors, a game that he created for the Atari platform, and that's amazing.
Thank you.
What made you want to create your own Atari game?
Well, it was actually John who had me create the Atari game, but I've made other games in the past. And this was, John asked me to do an Atari game, and I thought, you know, it'll kind of be a new challenge. It's a new programming language that I didn't even know. So I decided to just go with it, and once it got deeper and deeper, it started getting more interesting, and went ahead and fortunately completed it right before the show.
Wow. So about how many hours? Or do I even want to know?
Too many.
So what is the programming language to do Atari? Like, considering it's such an old platform, like you'd think it would be incredibly simple, but I guess it's not from what you just said.
There's 2 main ways to do it.
Okay.
How they used to do it was using assembler, and it's a very, very low level language, very difficult to program in for people like me who are used to newer languages.
Okay.
But there's a guy who has created something called Atari, which is basic for Atari, and you can program in basic language, which is far easier to read and program in, and that is what I did that way.
Too many hours. So what's the premise of the game?
The premise is similar to other movies that may have a similar name and took place in Australia, where it is a post-apocalyptic future, and the goal is to continuously get gas and shoot the enemies to keep your car running.
You get the game cartridge, and I'm assuming this is the car featured in the game.
It is. These have actually been custom painted and clear coated by a friend of ours.
Wow. Wow.
So they're not just cars that you buy off the shelf.
No, it doesn't look like it. You can't quite get like a satin finish with cars you buy off the shelf.
So it's got that. It's got a ball representing the fuel pod that you pick up in the game to refill your gas.
That's the cartridge.
We have the cartridge, of course.
Bonus CD. Bonus CD.
That is a soundtrack CD with tracks inspired by the game. Myself, I did 3 tracks on it. We have a friend in Texas who helped us contribute a track. A couple guys in Portland contributed tracks, and another YouTuber, Metal Jesus Rocks, contributed 1 track to it.
That's cool. I've always loved like game music, but like it's impossible to find the soundtracks. You're like, oh, the game's awesome, but there's no soundtrack.
Right.
Like that's awesome that you include that with this, and then
gotta have an air freshener. It's a car game, right?
Of course. And Wasteland Journal to keep track of.
It's a manual.
Oh, okay. How about that?
A lot of the homebrewers don't do a special edition, but since I'm from Working Designs, we love our special editions, and we decided, let's see how much stuff we can fit in this box.
Did you realize? That's quite a lot of stuff in that box. So do you have any other projects? Dude, Phantom Roof, a bunch of stuff.
I do have a couple that I'm not ready to announce yet, but they are on a different platform.
Okay, alright. Very cool. Like, can you give any like maybe like a bare bones synopsis of maybe like without giving it away, perhaps?
Nintendo Obscure Japanese. 2 of them.
Good enough for me. That's amazing. Well, I commend you for your accomplishment because this is amazing. If only I had the platform to play it on. I would.
Well, I'm sure you can find one around here somewhere.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, where else are we, right?
Right.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
I'm here with Pat the NES Punk, and he was here doing a panel, and he's just hanging out at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. Pat, how's it going?
I'm doing fine. This is like my mecca. This is like the main event, the Super Bowl for me of the year is to be here in Portland. Yeah.
I mean, last year was my first expo, and that's where we first met. And it was held at the DoubleTree, which is significantly smaller. And I came here, and I'm like, it's like a con. And oh my god, I didn't know it was that big. Like I am not in the retro gaming community at all. Like I play Sega. Yeah, it's interesting. I do enjoy it. No, I do enjoy it, and like I had a Sega growing up. Although I'm sorry, because it wasn't mentioned. But like, so I'm like, thanks. And like, I want to get into retro gaming because I feel like I missed out on it.
You did. I mean, these games laid the foundation for modern games. A lot of the icons and characters that we know and love that you see on T-shirts, people walking around started, in the 80s and 90s. So yeah, you are missing out. You should get it.
No, and actually, I interviewed somebody earlier who made their own like Atari platforms game, and I'm starting to see a bit of that. Yeah,
you see homebrews. NES, it's big. It's big in the NES scene. It's big in the Atari scene. People made like a Halo Atari game, I think, a couple years ago. And it's the sort of thing where it may not ever die out, the older games, because there'll always be someone that say, hey, I like the old games. I'm going to program a new game, like Civac did Paddle Kid, which is a new NES game that came out a couple years ago, a very challenging game, and it's going to keep going, I think. There's young kids walking around that own NES at like 8 years old.
Yeah, I saw like younger kids asking me questions at your panel, and I was really surprised. I was like, wow, I didn't think that like the kids would be interested in something like this when we have like our iPhones and our iPads, and like so many of the like the retro games are available on an iOS platform because it's not
the same though. It's not the same experience of popping in a cartridge in a dusty old system. And they still work fine, the systems, yeah. And versus an iPhone, and what's this? I got to poke on it and prod it.
Yeah, personally, I did buy a version of Sonic 2 for my Xbox, off Xbox Live Arcade.
At least that's a controller.
Yeah.
At least that's a controller.
Okay, so have you always been involved with RetroWare TV? Like, I thought like you were just like your own independent thing, and then I'm like, oh, RetroWare TV, like, so you've always been involved with it?
No.
No, okay.
Okay. I joined RetroWare TV in late 2010, so it's been 2 years. And before that, I was kind of freelancing around. No one really wanted me on any site. I was unwanted. I was alone. I don't know. I think it was the hair at the time. I still do my hair wacky, but no.
With wacky hair.
I don't like the hair a lot.
Thank you.
But I think what happened was I have a very quirky sense of humor, and I'm kind of eccentric when it comes to certain things. And there was a lot of websites at the time, at least a few, that they wanted all their producers to do exactly the same sort of video. And my videos are always a little bit out there in terms of like storylines and other stuff. And I guess no one ever wanted to take a chance with me, if that makes sense. But as I said in my panel, the video producers always respected my work. Guys like James Roll, Noah Antweiler, who's Spoonie, Wayne Cara, that guy with glasses, they were aware of my work before I even knew them personally, a lot of them. And I was just like, wow, that's really, really cool that you know about it. And so Retro TV was, they said, hey, this guy's cool, let's bring him on. And it's worked out.
So, what new and exciting stuff do you have coming out for the rest of the year? Maybe like little, you don't have to give anything away, but like little tiny.
When is this going to air? But in
ASAP.
October 20th, we have the 3rd annual NES Marathon benefiting Child's Play charity.
It's the day before my birthday.
Well, there you go.
Oh my God.
Well, you have to watch.
Okay.
Oh my God. We're going to try to raise $25,000 this year for Child's Play charity, which benefits children's hospitals throughout the U.S. And we're taking donations now at nesmarathon.com. So donate, there's lots of details there, you can sponsor, and that's a cool thing. Also, I have a Zapper review, game coming out, review, probably this week. In the Video Game Years, which is the Retroware TV show, 1980 we just hit, and that should be coming out soon as well. So there's lots of fun stuff happening. And I probably have another little series I'm planning coming out that I don't want to reveal what it is right yet.
I know people have asked you this a ton, but if you could, let's see, I'm just gonna broaden it. Sorry, I can't talk. Top 10 favorite games that you played on Super NES. Does that help?
No, it doesn't help.
Okay. All right, fine.
Top 10 of what? I don't like top 10s. But okay, top 10 what? Okay.
Top 10 like favorite games.
I'll just give you 10 really good games I like.
Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine.
All right. How about Super Dodgeball? How about Legend of Zelda? How about Mike Tyson's Punch-Out? How about ActRaiser on the Super Nintendo? How about Super Smash Bros. On the N64? How about Super Mario Kart on Super Nintendo? How about Doom on the PC? How about Space Quest on the PC? How about just random? Just give me a system, I'll name a good game that way. Give me a system.
Original Nintendo.
Any system. Commodore? I didn't have a Commodore growing up, so not a Commodore. How about on the Sega Genesis? How about Streets of Rage? It was great on the Genesis. How about Final Fight? Beat 'em up. So I can go all over the place. I can keep going. How about
PlayStation?
You don't have original PlayStation?
ColecoVision.
Resident Evil on the PlayStation. ColecoVision. Ladybug on the ColecoVision. What's a good game?
It's like
so it's
naming random systems. I don't necessarily know what they are.
Zaxxon on ColecoVision.
Television.
Intellivision. What was good on the Intellivision? Didn't have one growing up. Come back to me on Intellivision. I don't have a favorite on the Intellivision. Hold on.
Atari.
2600. All right. Keystone Capers. We have Space Invaders on 2600 was good. 7800 was a thing.
Okay.
7800 was an upgrade. 7800 you had lots of just upgraded versions of. You had pole position on the 7800, or pole position 2. 7800 you had versions of let's see. You had I think you had a Miss Pac-Man on 7800. I'm not positive.
Do you think that that you lose something when a game is re-released for a different console?
No, because if they keep the same gameplay elements, they keep the same style, you're not. If you reimagine it, then yes. If you go from, you know, Pac-Man to say Pac-Mania, which they made like into sort of like 2.5D thing, it's not the same game. It's like totally different. But if they release the same game, you know, Pac-Man was on the NES, and that was probably one of my first exposure was probably on the NES to it. You know, a lot more than the arcade. I didn't have a 2600. I didn't have an Atari system. So like you didn't have an Atari to play Pac-Man, but you played it on the Genesis.
When all that stuff came out, like original Nintendo or even Super Nintendo, my parents were like, no, you need to play outside. You're not staying inside and playing games all day. And so like
exercise is so overrated. I was fat and happy. I was fine. I was just made fun of every day. But
well, that's all. Oh, wasn't big deal. Is there one game that you really want to find that you haven't found yet?
I want to find Wild Guns for the Super Nintendo, but I'm not spending $140 on it. I want a box for a game called Chubby Cherub, which was an NES game where you're a little chubby little like angel, almost like a Cupid, and you go around shooting dogs and stuff, and the box is really hard to find. I haven't seen it here, so I want that.
Have you been over to Lost Classics? It's over in the corner, and they have a lot of like there. So that's where.
That's probably everywhere. Yeah, I think I've seen most of the vendors. Probably not every. I watch or look at every single game. I've walked around already.
Okay.
I've already got my stash in.
Okay.
The
Well,
stash that I'm just gonna throw in my room and collect dust for years. I'm a hoarder.
so do you have like a whole like set of like? Do you have like shelves built into the wall with all your games like lined up?
Yes, I hit a button. They spin around from the bookshelf.
Oh my God, that'd be so amazing.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. All right, thank you so much.
This is Pat with Selene at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2012. We're going to sign off. Say bye.